Hey guys, what is up? What's going on? It's your girl Ashley and welcome back to the channel. So today's video, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not gonna fake the funk. I'm pretty excited about it because I'm throwing it back to one of my world's best dupes videos. Oh, as you guys know, Bad Habit just released their Luna palette, which is a spot on dupe for the Norvina palette. I have both of them right here. In fact, I am wearing both palettes on my eyes. Yes, my eyes were done using two completely different palettes. I know, crazy. Let me just say this, save all your coins. All of them. Pause the video. Let me know which side you think is cheap and which side you think is high end, and don't be cheating. Pause the video. Left, right, left. Let me know down below in the comments. And if you guys are new, don't forget to press that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to click that bell so that you guys are notified anytime I upload a new video, which is 3 times a week, every single week. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 6 p.m. And with that, let's go ahead and get into it. Before I jump into shadow application, I definitely wanted to share some deets with you guys on the palette. So this is the Norvina palette right here. It retails for $42. It has that same velvet packaging that we all know and love for ABH shadow palettes. When you flip it open, you get a full-size mirror. Mine is hella dirty because she's very much loved. I have created 2 different looks using this palette on my channel. So if you guys are looking for like palette inspo, definitely check out those videos in the cards if you want more inspiration. In this palette, they did set it up with the 7 shimmers on top and the 7 mattes on the bottom, which is very different for ABH palette. So that is that. Again, it does retail for $42. Moving on to the Bad Habit Luna palette. This is what their palette looks like. Y'all, this palette, Luna, baby Luna. I have a baby. Her name is Luna. My Frenchie Luna. I fell in love with the name of this palette just because of that. I do like the packaging. It kind of has the moon right here and it's kind of embossed, so it kind of is raised a little bit. When you flip it open, you do get that full-size mirror right here, and these are the shadows. Honestly, spot on to the ABH shadows. The only big difference between this palette is the way that the shadows are set up and obviously the name. So this does retail for $16. I did also want to let you guys know that you aren't going to be able to buy this over on the Shop Hush website. You guys know anytime I do these videos, I always let you know that you can purchase it over on the Shop Hush app. However, Bad Habit is releasing their own shoppable website. So if you guys want to shop this product, you can purchase it straight from their website, badhabitbeauty.com. So I'll have it linked down below. And I want to say if you sign up for their newsletter, you get 10% off. So take advantage of that. I'm going to throw swatches up on the screen so that way you guys can see in comparison what these shadows look like right next to each other. Keep in mind, I don't believe in one finger swatches. I did build these shadows up to their full intensity just so that way you guys can see what the buildability looks like for each shadow. So with that, we're just gonna go ahead and hop into the demo so that way you guys can see how each shadow blends on my eyeballs. Oh, so I can't even express how excited I am to finally be sitting down and filming this video for you guys. So first and foremost, I did just want to let you guys know how things are gonna go if you guys are new to my channel. I pretty much just use the Bad Habit Luna palette on one side, and then on the other side, I will use the ABH Norvina palette, just so that way you guys can see in comparison side by side the different formula of the shadows and the pigmentation and the color story to see if they line up to be identical or if they are in fact very similar. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by priming my eyelids with a little bit of concealer. I'm just going to use my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This is what I absolutely love to use to prime my eyelids. It's really just going to create a nice sticky base for my shadows to lay on top of. Alright, so now that my lids are nice and primed, I'm now going to move on to shadow application. On the left side, I will be using the Luna palette. And the first shadow I'm going to use is called Waxing, which is a really pretty soft brown shade. I'm going to take it on in M441, and I'm going to start off by packing it right here on the very outer V. Do you guys see the pigmentation on that? Whoo, I see you. Bad Habit. I'm really just stamping this color right here in the very outer socket, like so. And then once the majority of the product has already left my brush, I'm just going to sweep it inwards like so. So I will say for the most part, this shadow is building up very, very nicely in the crease. The pigmentation is fuego. All right, so I definitely feel like this blended out very, very nicely on the lid. What do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? I'm now going to move on to using the Norvina palette, and I'm going to pick up the shade called Eccentric, which is the same shade from the Luna palette. I'm just focusing on packing this color right here on the very outer edge, and then when the majority of the product has already left my brush, I'm just going to start sweeping it inwards in small circular motions and in my crease as well. So I will just say, in comparison to each other, the shades are looking pretty spot on, which is crazy. I'm just gonna kind of buff out this edge right over here on the ABH side, just so that way it matches the Luna side a little bit better. The next shade I'm gonna use from the Luna palette is the shade called Dark Side, which is a really beautiful burgundy shade, and I'm gonna pop it right here towards the very outer edge. And I'm just gonna kind of bring it in a little bit, just move my brush side to side to really help blend that product. Now I am keeping this very low on the lid. I don't want to take it above that transitional shade we just applied, so I'm really focusing on patting it right here. And then I'm just gonna kind of sweep it into the crease a little bit, but nothing too crazy. All right, so once I have that outer edge built up to my desired intensity, I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of the shade called Waxing, and I'm just gonna place it right above to really help melt these two shades into each other, so that way I have more of a seamless blend going on. For the ABH side, I'm gonna pick the shade called Passion, and I'm gonna pat it right here on the very outer edge, like so. By the way, I have like 2 small bumps right here on my eyelid, so if you're wondering what that is, I don't know. It's just there. Now I will say right off the bat, I am having a little bit more of a harder time blending out the Norvina side, and I feel like that has a lot to do with the pigmentation of the shadows. Sometimes when shadows are extremely pigmented, it can be really hard to buff and blend out the edges, which is why I can appreciate a shadow that lacks a little bit of pigmentation but still buildable, because it's a lot easier to work with, especially for beginners. So I am just gonna work a little bit harder to buff and blend out the ABH side. I'm actually gonna take this shade right here a little bit further in to the very inner part of my eyelid. As you can see right here, I kind of just stopped here, but I'm dragging this one in just a little bit further. I'm just gonna add a little bit more of the shade Dark Side right over here to the Luna side, just so that way it matches the ABH side a little bit better. But so far, I think things are looking pretty decent, if I do say so myself. I'm just gonna take a clean M433 by Morphe, and I'm just gonna run it right alongside the edges of the shadow, just so that way it feels a little bit more like one. It feels a little bit more blended. For the Norvina side, I am also using a clean brush, just because I don't want to use the same brushes on each side, and I have been switching brushes this entire time. I have like doubles of all my brushes. So I think that's looking pretty good so far. I'm trying to think about like what exactly I want to do with this look, because I have already created 2 looks using the Norvina palette, so I definitely want to do something a little different. Using my MAC 242 brush, I'm going to pick up the shade Dazzling from the ABH palette. I'm going to spray it with some Fix Plus, because that's just what I always do, and I'm going to pop this onto my lid. And I'm not cutting my crease or anything like that, just because I feel like when I spray my brush with Fix Plus, it allows the shadow to lay super flat and slick on the lid, almost creating more of like a wet formula, so I don't really have to go in and cut my crease. I'm really just taking my time to place it onto the lid while also following a specific guideline. Since I didn't cut my crease, I really don't have anything to follow along with, so I am trying to be careful not to take it too far above the crease. And so far, I think that's looking really good. So I'm going to take a M507, and I'm going to pick the shade called Passion from the ABH palette, and I'm just going to kind of feather it into this really beautiful rosy shimmer. And this right here is just going to give me a little bit more of a seamless blend. I went ahead and cleaned off my 242 brush by MAC, and I'm going to pick up the dupeable shade in the Bad Habit Luna palette called Apolloon. At least that's how I think you say it. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to pick up the shadow, spray it with some Fix Plus just to get it going, and I'm going to put it on my lid in packing motions to start. Woo. Y'all see the pigment on this? I'm telling you, Bad Habit never disappoints. So I'm just taking the shadow and I'm just dragging it alongside the very inner part of the lid, creating more of a cut crease effect, but not really because I didn't have to actually go in and cut my crease. But for the most part, honey, that is gorgeous. So I can definitely say that there is a difference between the shimmers on the Bad Habit side. While it looks a little bit more like foiled and just like, I do feel like the shimmer is a little bit chunkier on the Luna side as opposed to the Norvina side. The side just lays a lot flatter. It still looks really nice, but it's just not as foiled as this side. With a clean M507, I'm gonna pick up some of dark side and I'm gonna do the same exact thing. I'm just gonna kind of buff and blend it into the shimmer for more of a seamless look. So far so good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean up my fallout, finish off my base, and then we'll come back and finish off the look. So far this is what the look looks like. Honestly, I am living, breathing, and dying for it. I think I want to incorporate like a subtle pop in the very inner corner. I have used the Norvina palette in the past, which is why I didn't want to gravitate more towards like the pinks and the purples, because I have in fact done a look using the Norvina palette with the pinks and purples. So I kind of wanted to change up the pace and switch it up. I'm actually going to use a pencil brush right here. This is a Morphe M321 and I'm going to pick up the shade in the Bad Habit Luna palette called Meridian. And I'm actually going to pop this right here in the very inner corner. Ooh, that is pretty. I'm really gonna amp up this shade and build it up so that way it really pops. Using a clean pencil brush, I'm gonna pick up the shade called Wild Child in the Norvina palette, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing. Now that I have that subtle pop at the very inner corner, I'm going to take an M507, which is my version of a precise blending brush. And I'm going to pick up the shade called Super Moon in the Bad Habit Luna palette. And I'm just going to smoke this right here on the lower lash line. That is gorgeous. I really, really love this color in the palette. It's like a lilac, but it's like a deeper lilac, if that makes sense. It's honestly a really unique color. And I'm just gonna take this color and really just buff it into the very outer edge, just so that way everything melts into each other. Taking a clean M507, I'm gonna pick the shade called Soul in the Norvina palette, which is a spot on dupe for that shade. I'm going to take a clean M433 and I'm going to run it right alongside this edge to really just smoke it out. I want the color on my lower lash line to just be pulled down super far, but I also want it to be nice, blown out, and blended. The last shadow I'm going to apply is a brow bone highlight. So from the Luna palette, I'm going to pick the shade called Crescent, which is just a bone colored shade, and I'm going to pop it right here on the brow bone. And with my firm shader E57 by Sigma, I'm just going to take this, wipe it back and forth alongside my brow bone to make sure everything looks seamless. From the Norvina palette, I'm going to pick up the shade called Base and do the same exact thing. And to buff and blend that out, I'm just going to use my firm shader E57 and just run it right alongside the edge until both shades melt together. Cool, so shadow's done. I'm gonna pop on falsies, mascara, all that jazz, and then we'll be right back to regroup. And just like that, you guys, this is the final and completed look. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I will say as a whole, I can't tell the difference that much. There is slight differences. I will definitely say that the Luna palette, the shimmer in the Luna palette is a little bit more chunkier than that of the Norvina palette. I feel like the shimmers in the Norvina palette lay extremely smooth on the lid. That's not necessarily a bad thing because I still feel like the Luna side is a lot more vibrant and a lot more foil than that of the Norvina palette. So do what you want with that information. I definitely feel like the Bad Habit palette is a spot on dupe for the Norvina palette. For $16, I definitely feel like it is a steal. If you guys have been wanting to check out the Norvina palette but just can't justify the price point, I definitely think that this is a pretty good steal, if I do say so myself. I mean, come on, they look almost identical. If you guys are interested in this palette, I will have the link down below in the description. It can only be purchased on their website, badhabitbeauty.com. They will not be releasing this over on the Shop Hush website, so definitely check it out if you guys have been wanting to pick up the Norvina palette. And with that, you guys, if you want me to dupe any other palette, leave them down below in the comments, and until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces. My nose contour is on another level.